Cuba is among one of the first countries in the American continent to adopt radio and television service. On August 22, 1922, the first radio station in the country began broadcasts under the cooperation of the U.S.-based International Telephone and Telegraph. With the issuance of a speech given by President Alfredo Zayas y Alfonso, the very first regular broadcasts were produced by the PWX on October 10th. The radio stations in Cuba were incorporated by private means, and its programming was originally composed of news and entertainment. With the increased popularity of radio came the development and launching of television stations. In the early years of TV in Cuba, there was a climate of competitiveness between two Cuban businessmen, both backed by U.S. companies. The first was Gaspar Pumajero, on behalf of Dumont, and the second was Goard Mestre, with RCA Victor. Pumajero's Channel 4, Union Radio TV, was the first TV channel to broadcast on the island on October 24, 1950. Mestre began broadcasts on Channel 6, CMQ, on December 18th of that same year. Both networks went on to develop a program format similar to that of the radio counterpart. The next network to begin broadcast was Telemundo on Channel 2 on February 18, 1953. On March 10, 1952, Fulgencio Batista sent for representatives of the media and imposed censorship. The censorship became even harsher after Fidel Castro's attack on the Moncada barracks on July 26, 1953. The government in Cuba still owns and controls all broadcast media to this day. Stations could be fined or shut down for various infractions. Private ownership of the electronic media is prohibited. The government operates 4 national TV networks and many local stations. It operates 6 national radio networks, an international station, and many local radio stations. Private citizens are prohibited from buying computers or accessing the internet without special authorization. Some Cubans purchase illegal passwords on the black market or take advantage of public outlets to access limited email and the government-controlled internet. But don't worry, if you plan to visit Cuba, foreigners may access the internet in large hotels. However, you are subject to firewalls. All TV and radio networks and stations are state-owned by the Cuban Radio and Television Corporation, ICRT. TV Marti, based in Miami, Florida, and financed by the U.S. government, transmits Spanish-language TV broadcasts to Cuba. The American Forces Network, AFN, also has a station for U.S. military personnel at Guantanamo Bay Naval Base. Besides TV Marti and the AFN, all other TV and radio networks and stations are under the sole rule of the president. The government has chosen to completely run and control the media according to their standards. After Union Radio TV went on the air, the demand for television sets in Cuba exploded. Fortunately, Cuban broadcasting coincided with a glut of sets in the U.S. market, regardless of high costs ranging from $350 for a 16-inch to about $2,000 for a 30-inch set. Cuba's Government Imports and Export Analysis Agency estimated that Cubans had bought more than 100,000 television receivers by 1952. From the get-go, television played a major role in the social and political fibers of Cubans. Cuba has 5 national television channels. They are known for airing various kinds of locally produced programming. The channels include Cubavisión, founded in 1950, Tele Rebelde, founded in 1968, Canal Educativo, founded in 2001, Canal Educativo 2, founded in 2004, and Multivisión, founded in 2008. One of the very first shows to ever broadcast was the coverage of the Cuba Winter League baseball games. Other common shows in Cuba include soap operas, telenovelas, news, cooking shows, and comedy groups. The platforms and systems in Cuba consist mainly of NTSC analog television, analog radio, telephony, amps, D-amps, GSM mobile telephony, and the internet. Telephone service is provided by the Telecommunications Company of Cuba. Mobile telephone service is provided by the Cellular Telephone Company of Cuba, also called Cubacel, and the Caribbean Cellular or Celulares del Caribe, CCOM. Cuban authorities call the internet the great disease of the 21st century. As a result of computer ownership bans, computer ownership rates are among the world's lowest. Since buying computers was legalized in 2007, the number of computers owned skyrocketed, and the number of internet users dramatically increased with it. Unfortunately, internet access in Cuba is notoriously expensive and slow. On the other hand, rates still remain low due to the high cost of systems.